Hi everyone, a couple of months ago I started a new series called First Time Vinyl Spins, or First Time Spins, whatever it was. And that's a series where I listen to some albums that first time ever listening to the whole thing in their entirety, and giving some general feedback here, what I think of them. Not in any way trying to be a reviewer here or trying to talk about music in a technical sense. As I always say at the beginning of any of these videos, I don't really follow music technically. I'm not well versed in that. I just know what I like and don't care for so much. So this is going to be chapter 2. And a long time coming, and I got 6 albums here to go through. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of variety here to get into and see where we stand with these. Okay, I'm going to do the glasses bit for this. And although I don't usually do this, I never really understood the reasons. I'm in the mood to do it today. It's very hot here. And a glass of water. I say cheers, everybody, to the vinyl community. Yeah, that's a good way to start a video. Feel refreshed. Okay, let me get myself together here as the sunlight is coming through. First album, the Rolling Stones. First album in the U.S. England's newest hitmakers, Rolling Stones. And this is about what I expected. It was very entertaining, good rock and blues, good solid first debut in the States for the Stones. There's not a lot here in the way of original songs. We only have Tell Me by Jagger and Richard. And I want somebody to tell me, I could probably look it up easily enough on Google, but why Keith Richard, it was Keith Richard and then later Keith Richards with an S. So being that I'm more of a Beatles guy, not as much of a Stones guy, I would need some information on that. But I enjoyed this from start to finish. Some tracks are weaker than others, some are better. I wouldn't call this an exceptional album by any stretch of the imagination. The songs I liked on it were, well, first of all, Tell Me, the only original song here by the Stones. Mick and Keith wrote it. Tell Me is probably my favorite song on the album. I also like Not Fade Away, Route 66, I'm a King Bee. I like their version of Chuck Berry's song Carol. And that's really pretty much it. The rest of it is just kind of filler to me, but it's not unbearable filler. It's decent filler. I could listen to this all the way through. The last song, Walking the Dog, not really crazy about that whistling. I can't whistle. Whatever it was, not really thrilled with that. So yeah, I recommend this album. Okay, now the next album caught me completely by surprise. I went to a flea market. Well, it's a flea market I always go to, and there's a guy there that has a table. And he has a lot of good records. The problem is there's never anything I need. I either have the records already or, you know, don't want them or something or other. And I always feel bad because I know the guy. In addition to setting up a table, he also is somebody I see in my regular record store as a customer. He's in there a lot. And I don't feel like I want to do right by the guy and buy something. Well, finally, one day I found something that I wanted. It's this album, Paul and Paula Sing for Young Lovers, right? Yeah, that's the name. Paul and Paula Sing for Young Lovers. Now, I only knew the song Hey Paula, which was a hit from 1962, I think. And I really liked that song. I probably first heard of it in the movie Animal House. A lot of you people there, if you know the movie Animal House, National Lampoon, John Belushi. That's where I first heard a little bit of Paul and Paula's Hey Paula. And of course, Paul and Paula are really Jill Jackson, who was 20, and Paul was Ray Hildebrand. And Ray Hildebrand wrote Hey Paula. But anyway, so I picked this album up at the flea market, not expecting much. It wasn't that expensive, you know, so it was affordable, and I liked that song, and cover was cool. I listened to this only this morning, and I didn't expect to love this entire album all the way through. I mean, their voices are so great together. They're so well blended. And Paula, a.k.a. Jill Jackson, is fantastic. I love her as a singer. She's terrific. They start out with Hey Paula, then they do Hey Baby, the Bruce Chanel song, and then they do Come Softly to Me, and I should have looked this up. Is it the Fleetwoods who did that? The original, the oldies? And then there's just other songs. Two People in the World, Sweet Baby. Some of these I had never heard of. Blue Roller Rink, Young Lovers, My Happiness, which I know My Happiness. All the Love, G Baby, Don't Let It End, and Bahaby. Bahaby. Well, Bahaby. Last track. It just was pleasing to my ears. I couldn't get enough of it. So much so that out of all these albums I'm reviewing here, this is probably the most satisfying one completely from start to finish. And what a surprise. I didn't expect to like the rest of them. But I think because I like the singers very much, they blended so well together. I liked anything that they sang. And I want to get the rest of their albums. There's not many of them. But that was a real surprise. 2 thumbs up. One for Paul and one for Paula. Okay, now we're going to go a different path. We're going to get into Kiss. And I was inspired a little bit by, Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy, Ottavio's thread recently where he showed some Kiss stuff. And I've got some Kiss albums, and the one I decided to play, just in no particular order, was Rock and Roll Over, Kiss album from 1976. Story with me and Kiss, which I probably have told a lot of times, but if you haven't heard it, I was the perfect age for Kiss in high school. This album came out in 1976. I was in my freshman year of high school, 14 years old. I mean, I just wasn't into really anything like this. To me, a guy who really, I was just getting into collecting the Beatles when I was 14. I'm a Beatles fan, and I really started getting into the Beatles. So compared to the Beatles, this was something really way out of left field. This was as heavy metal, as crazy, as dirty and punky and sinister as you can possibly think. And I know I used to sit in my homeroom, and a lot of the guys, they'd be talking about Kiss endlessly because it was the newest thing. Oh, you got to get whatever albums were at the time. Oh, man, Dressed to Kill is great. Oh, Hotter Than Hell, Rock and Roll Over. Man, you got to get these albums. Oh, they're great. Oh, Peter Criss is so much better a drummer than Ringo Starr. Oh, the Beatles broke up 6 years ago. Get with the program, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm going a long-winded here, but although I was the right age for Kiss, I felt even then, as I do now, they were really mostly a gimmick. And I know there are a lot of Kiss fans out there, and no disrespect, but I'm going to try to tell you my honest opinions. I've watched interviews recently with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. I think they're really intelligent guys. I think they really know their stuff. I really respect Gene Simmons a lot with his no drugs policy that he has, and I like the way the man speaks. He's a little too much of a marketing fiend, obviously. He's into the money, but, capitalism and all that kind of stuff. But hey, whatever floats your boat. This album, this is the first Kiss album I played in its entirety. I should tell you that back in the 70s, I gave into peer pressure like for the only time in my life that I could ever remember. And I bought Kiss Alive. And I played a little bit of Kiss Alive and promptly shut it off. It was too hardcore at the time for me. Anyway, so I played this album in its entirety. If anybody's interested, the album does have... I don't want to waste too much time on this, but some people may be interested. It does have the stickers, the decals in here, and the Kiss Army sheet. Which, just before I talk about the album, I'll say, that's something that I really find is interesting. I'm not really a big Kiss fan. I'm not a Kiss fan at all. Who am I kidding? But I do like some of their songs, as you might expect, the more well-known songs, the popular ones. Searching their albums to see if there's any surprises on there for me. But I think I really get off on the idea of collecting Kiss more than playing the music, which I think is part of the idea, isn't it? Part of it's like the gimmick and the aura of Kiss. All right, so I listened to this album, and I got to tell you, it's okay as far as if you want to hear some hard rock. I really do think, and again, no offense, this is mostly for young kids. I mean, 14, 15 years old. I think that if you grew up at the right age for this stuff had to be really amazing and really cool. They would say awesome now. But for me, it's just a lot of, stuff that doesn't mean much, at least to my ears, and it's Nothing great, but it's okay rock in the background. It's the kind of thing I would put on the other room in the background while I'm typing when I'm in the mood for something harder to listen to. Hard Luck Woman stood out. You know, I did some research after I listened to the album, and of course, Hard Luck Woman was the single. Peter Criss. I was surprised because me thinking, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. I'm not thinking that Peter Criss is the one that's really pretty good at some of the hit singles. Maybe I know he did Beth. He didn't he write Beth or some of it, and he sang Beth. No surprise that Beth is one of my favorite Kiss songs, and Hard Luck Woman was pretty good too. When it started out, and the song order here is out of order, so I don't recall now which track was first. I'll take the record out. At first, when we started with I Want You, I liked, Paul Stanley's voice. I started nicely. Then it got into, same old stuff. I gotta say, Calling Dr. Love is a good example of what I think of the writing of Kiss. And again, I'm no expert in Kiss. I'm not going to listen to one album and try to judge them, but I've heard a lot of other albums. I mean, when you get into writing, like, I don't know exactly how it goes, something like, call me Dr. Love. Call me Dr. Love. I am the doctor of love. I am what you thinking of, or something like that. I forget the words. Hey, I listened to this a long time ago now. I don't really remember the words, but I remember that. Just the same thing with the last track on the album, which I think is Making Love. It just goes, making love, making love, when you get to the point where you just got to keep saying the title over and over again, I don't know. Hey, I didn't hate the album. Didn't love the album, didn't even like the album. I thought it was okay. It's the kind of thing that I'll put on. I don't want to get rid of it. I like collecting Kiss, and even if I just have this as I say, a piece in the Kiss collection, even listening to it, I thought it was okay. So I'll put this on again when I get in a Kiss mood. So that's that. Now, again, we're going to go to something completely different here. George McCrae, Rock Your Baby, from, I think, 1974. Now, the song was a big hit, Rock Your Baby. I love that song. I make no apologies for it, guys. I say that a lot. I mean, I like, a lot of the top stuff that was out at the time. It was a big hit. Now, what really attracted me to the album was I noticed on the back it said Rock Your Baby was 6 minutes and 20 seconds, and that was a lot longer than I really knew it to be. So just for that alone, it didn't matter to me whether I hated the rest of the album. As long as I was going to have a 6 minute and 20 second version of Rock Your Baby, this album was for me, and I really love it. I love hearing the little extra touches that are different from the shorter version that we're familiar with. So I really enjoyed Rock Your Baby on this album. That alone was worth the price of admission. But what I found is I like the rest of the album. I mean, again, this is the kind of album, put it in the background, nothing I'm going to sit there very studiously and listen to. As background music, sometimes washing the dishes, I have my kitchen right next to the living room, and I like to have, believe it or not, dishwashing music. That's fine. I mean, it's disco, the disco era, well, the early disco era, not so much Saturday Night Fever disco. But what I'll say about all the songs is they're very formulaic. They follow the formula of Rock Your Baby. In fact, one song here, Make It Right, sounds almost exactly like Rock Your Baby, except he's singing Make It Right instead. So it's all just that same sound. If you like that one song, Rock Your Baby, and you want other stuff like it just in the background, it really covers the era of 1974. And I guess early disco stuff. If you don't want anything to do with any kind of disco, don't bother. Okay, now we're going to go to a Simon and Garfunkel album. Now, I'm a Simon and Garfunkel fan. And I played this album only for the first time in its entirety. Up till now, anytime I play Simon and Garfunkel, I pretty much just play their greatest hits. And I've played a couple of their albums. I really beginning to think that I really only like their hits. I hate to tell you, that's the case with me on some music, and it may be the case with Simon and Garfunkel. I love Paul Simon's solo music. I mean, I have solo work by him, and as far as them together as a duo, I think I'm happy with the hits, man. I really do. I mean, on this album, the songs I liked were the ones you'd expect. I mean, I like the Bookends theme, the song America, obviously I like, and then I liked Mrs. Robinson, a surprise. I mean, that's one of their biggest hits and one of their greatest songs. I love that. and A Hazy Shade of Winter. Those are the songs I liked. I have to admit, it was tough sledding for me. I had a hard time really getting into the other songs here. Save the Life of My Child, I just couldn't get into it. This is an album I heard about 2 months ago, or a month ago, and I'm trying to use my memory. I just remember not really getting into the rest of it. I kept waiting for the familiar hits in this case. None of them. Sometimes a song will grab me. It doesn't have to be a hit. But this album didn't do it for me. Voices of Old People. That's just a lot of old people chatting. I think the theme of this album is supposed to be like bookends, young and old, and the aging process. I didn't think that came through. I didn't think there was a theme here, really. It didn't strike me. If I listen to it again, and I will, this is an album I'm going to keep, and an album that I want in my collection. I'm trying to get a good Simon and Garfunkel collection going, and I will play this again and see how it fares the second time. It's not bad, but Faking It, don't remember it doing anything for me. Punky's Dilemma, nothing, and At the Zoo. So again, so far I'm a diehard Simon and Garfunkel popular songs that they're known for fan, but I don't know so much about the odd stuff. And now we're going to get to an album that is interesting. It's a Johnny Cash album, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Now, this album I found at my local record shop for $25. I got it discounted a little bit for $21. Now, what was beautiful about it is, first of all, the cover drew me in. I mean, I don't just buy albums for their covers, but man, this one was really appealing. And I've been getting into Johnny Cash. I played a couple of Johnny Cash albums, and I like what I'm hearing. I like Johnny Cash. I like the sound of his voice. But I found out through this song that his voice is not enough for me. Through this album, I should say, that his voice is not just enough for me. It's got to be songs I enjoy by him. And I liked what I heard on other albums. This one didn't do it for me, folks. But before I go into the details, what was cool about this was there's a sticker here that says "Still in Shrink Wrap." Now, what was in shrink wrap? And I believe this says this album is 1962. I opened the album, played it already, but this was a Columbia 2i. This was sealed. The original bag was sealed, never opened before, and I think that was pretty amazing to see. To pull out a Columbia album, a record that was never played before. It was amazing to me. It looks like a new album. But unfortunately, the first side, I couldn't take it, really. I mean, the sound of the pick and shovel and the hammer, I know that's the point of it. But featuring the legend of John Henry's hammer. I didn't like all that stuff on side one. I mean, I appreciate the story, the story that goes on, but that's just it. First side was mostly telling a story, not really singing songs to me. I just wasn't into it. The Legend of John Henry's Hammer, Tell Him I'm Gone, and Another Man Done. Three so-called songs, more like him narrating a tale with that constant ding, ding of the hammer and the pick. Just didn't care for it. Side two was better. I have to say, side two was better. It's got a song called Busted, and again, I don't know. These songs might be common knowledge to a lot of you. They're new to me. Busted, Casey Jones, not to be confused with the Grateful Dead, right? Casey Jones, 9 Pound Hammer, Chain Gang, Waiting for a Train, Roughneck. Side two was better, but I also got to tell you, I didn't like the sound quality of this album. Figures, right? You get yourself an original Columbia 2i record, never been opened. And then, not crazy with the sound quality. I mean, this is a stereo edition. I mean, I couldn't pass this up. It was in beautiful shape. The record was sealed inside. Couldn't pass it up. And I just wish it was mono. I don't know if mono would have made a difference in this case. I think sometimes mono does. But disappointment. This album's a disappointment. I still will play it again. I'm pretty sure I'll never have any need to hear side one. I disliked it that much. But side two was decent enough that I'll play it again. And of course, I want to build up my Johnny Cash collection. I don't have enough yet to know if I feel like I want to get all his stuff. This one kind of like tripped me up a little bit, I gotta say. A little bit surprised, disappointed by this. So I left on a negative note, I guess. But overall, I'm keeping all these albums, and none of them Hey, in my last review, I did Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, and that album's out of here. Sorry, I know I caught a lot of flack for that, and that's what I want. I want people to tell me their opinions here. As long as they're respectful, they'll stay. You can disagree. As long as they're respectful, we'll discuss it. Anyway, hope you got something out of this, enjoyed it a little bit. I think it went well, different types of albums, and hopefully it won't be too long before I do the next one. What happens is I listen to a lot of records, mostly stuff I'm familiar with, but I've listened to new albums that I forgot already because I didn't hurry up and put them on the side and write notes or make a video of them. So, thanks folks. Cheers.